here today with Stuart Smith. Stuart has been the treasurer here at St. David's Church for 3 years now. This time of year, Stuart, I think for both of us, we tend toward thinking a lot about stewardship. And when I think about stewardship, I'm struck by the fact that sometimes in conversations with people, I get the sense that they feel like the stewardship campaign that tends to come in the fall is about a plea for money. When I think about stewardship, I think it is a call to action. And I think specifically about calling to action the resources that we all have as a community to come together to do the mission and ministry that St. David's is called by God to do. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit with me today about how an individual household's financial commitment to St. David's really impacts the total ability of the church to do that.
Great. Yeah. Well, I think about the budget in terms of what does it cost to run this facility, this institution, on a day-to-day basis. And as we look ahead to 2016, our budget's going to be, right now we expect it to be at about $742,000 for the year. So if you just divide 365 into that, it's going to cost about a little over $2,000 a day to run the church. When you think about the number of folks that are involved here, active households of about 246 is where we are. Pledges ranging from $50 a year to out to $12,000 a year. We really need to have an average pledge this coming year, average of about $2,900, just to keep the doors open and do all the things that we want to do in terms of the ministries that we have. This past year, we had 149 households actually pledge dollars to the annual budget.
That's interesting, Stuart, because if we look at our database, we have about 246 families that we consider active members. So of that, only about 149 have made a financial commitment on paper.
Well, as we often say, it's time, treasure, and talent, and I'm sure that some of those folks are able to give more in time and talent perhaps than treasure, but treasure is important here because in my role as treasurer, at the end of the day, it is a business here that we have to run and make move, and it supports all the things that people want from their church. So, this past year, the average pledge was just under $2,800. And we have to factor in there just the pledges alone from families. Effectively, at $434,000 is what we're anticipating for this year. That will basically just cover the cost of the personnel of the church. Then we have to look beyond that as to where the other dollars will come from to turn the lights on and provide the ministries, etc.
So where do those other dollars come from?
Well, a big piece of our budget comes from the endowment and dedicated funds. We have several dedicated funds that feed into our budget, but the endowment itself will provide, we're anticipating about $152,000 worth of operating funds for next year. That $152,000 plus some of these other funds that come in from some other funds that are not part of the endowment will total out to about $225,000, and that will effectively cover keeping the lights on, the heat on, paying the water bill, and then our pledge to the diocese, which of course we're due to pay the diocese every year. So, and that doesn't even fill out the whole picture. Fortunately, the bazaar covers about 2 weeks of operations, a very important event in the life of our church for a host of very good reasons, but the dollars do matter as well. And the bazaar is going to help defray costs of ministries like our music, like our worship, like our social. So those are very important dollars that come in too and really merit the support of every parishioner in every way possible.
There's a lot that goes into making up that budget then. But it sounds like it's really critical that that pledge piece from the parishioners not only has to be there, but if we're not going to continue to tap our endowment, which may be needed for bigger costs down the road. I know looking at the videos that have been produced the last several weeks, we're going to have to replace that roof at some time that's on the church. We're going to have to do some some major repairs on this facility. I mean, that's the reality of anyone who owns a home knows that you have to maintain your property. Otherwise, you really get into trouble down the road. So we can't keep dipping into the endowment whenever we're not making up the difference in pledges, can we?
No, we sure can't. I think where we are with the endowment right now, we have about $3 million in our endowment. And I would argue that it's prudent, and the Finance Committee and I spent a lot of time on this, it's probably prudent to think about a 5% draw on the endowment every year. In the past few years, we've actually been a bit above that for some very good reasons, but we've really had to focus this year on bringing that back into line. So at $3 million, 5% of that is $152,000. We really need to be thinking about dropping that down more towards a goal of 4%. Mm-hmm. And the only way we're going to make those dollars up is we have to have everybody kind of pitch in to move that average pledge amount up. Because you're right, as we look down the road, we do have some major expenses coming our way, and there's nothing in our current budget that saves for a rainy day or anticipates how we pay for a major capital expense like a new roof.
If stewardship then really is a call to action, it sounds like we all need to be challenged to help the entire community raise its giving. I know last year the Stewardship Committee put out a challenge for the congregation that every household work toward giving 5% of their income, their annual income, to the church. We hear in the Bible about the biblical tithe of 10%, but we're suggesting 5% as a challenge goal. Just doing the math in my head, it would seem that a $2,500 annual pledge would be about 5% of an annual income of about $50,000. So it seems like maybe some of us can do a little better, a little more, and that may be our challenge. That may be our call to action this year, to try and raise that annual giving rate from where we are now to closer to the 5% of income.
Well, ultimately it is our community, and we all need to participate in uplifting our community. And as I said earlier, it is a bit of a business. I don't like to think about our church that way, but there are things that we're all responsible for supporting, and everybody, if we can all dig a little bit deeper, your treasurer will sleep better at night, I know that.
Well, thank you, Stuart. This conversation has been very helpful to me, and I hope it's been helpful to those who've been viewing this video and the videos that have come before. So it seems like our call to action this year is to help everyone in our congregation to realize the importance of their commitment, the part that you play in the life of this congregation, giving your time, your talent, and also of your financial resources to help St. David's move forward to do the mission and ministry that God is calling us to do.